Hello and welcome to the Lila Community Podcast, where we talk everything mental health, physical well-being, surfing, photography, mentorship, and growth. I'm your host, Neo, and it's so good to finally be doing this again properly. I really hope we continue this time, and I think I've found the right people. I'm in the right space, and things have just fallen together. I think we just weren't in the right place 2.5 years ago when we tried doing this. So I will be doing as many of these as I can in the hope that you guys will learn. And then sometimes I'll have Terry here with me, hopefully maybe even Coach Dave, and whoever else is keen on coming on and chatting about their life experiences and sharing as one does in a community. And the whole point of this is to build a community of people who support each other's health and well-being. If we can share our experiences with mental health and just make each other feel a little less alone, it really helps validate that you're not completely losing the plot, even if you are. And I mean, if we can support each other's businesses or startups or, help young people on their journey through school or work, just to grow in general, we would have achieved what we hoped to with this community. And just kind of, I don't know, the world seems to have gotten, it's lost that sense of community, in a really small sense. But I've kind of found it at South Beach and with the surfing community. Because of that, myself and Terry and Dave, we want to share that with people. And so that's what this is all about. Hopefully it leads to like little support groups or support circles or chat groups or people reaching out and asking for help when they need it, like I learned that I needed to do and have come to realize it's not a bad thing. So today's lesson, if you would, was something that happened yesterday, but I recorded and wasn't happy, so I re-recorded as I do. But anyway, I'm trying to stop doing that. But for now, it is what it is. I wasn't happy with the slight hiss in the preamp, and then I wasn't happy with the lighting, and yeah. I have been diagnosed bipolar for like 3 years now, and it's been a lot of learning and trialing medications and therapy and blah, 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 blah. But the biggest thing throughout this whole process has been becoming self-aware. And honestly, no doctor, no psychologist, nobody outside of your own mind can tell you what's going on, because they can't possibly know every ounce of data that's flowing through there, especially when it's a mind like mine that just keeps changing and there's noise and there's 2 million things going on and it changes to the next second. If you can barely track what you're thinking, imagine expecting someone else to do that. So the whole point of today's discussion, and it's going to come up again, is self-awareness and how something that happened yesterday made me think about this and think about doing this video. So I have been surfing for like 11 months, almost a year now. And I'm proud to say I think I've progressed quite well. Went from a mini Mel to a 9.6 longboard log kind of thing. I'm happy now, getting onto waves, riding down the line, trimming, starting to turn a bit, and it's cool. I'm really happy. I've met so many cool people and gotten involved in so many initiatives because of it. And I want to progress, obviously, in my surfing. I don't want to get too lazy on the longboard. And forgive me, people who are purely longboarders, because I love longboarding, but I also feel like I need to push myself. So I got myself a mid-length a few weeks ago. Once again, I always consult Coach Dave because he is so experienced and he's done this and he's been through this. He's done this with so many people. So I spoke to him and asked him what I should do, especially for like the days that are a bit crunchier, a bit bigger, but steeper, and also to force me to refine my technique and to sort of, stop all the little lazy things that you get away with on a longboard. And in the 3 sessions that I've done on the mid-length, I then jump back on the longboard for a few sessions this week, and I can already tell the difference. I'm popping up quicker, I'm more balanced, I'm more confident. So it's working, but I have a lot of work to do. Managed to paddle onto waves, get down the face and try to turn, but my brain goes to like longboard turning mode, and then I spin on the spot and fall off. So we've got plenty learning to do. But the point of the story was yesterday in the morning, as we do, Dave and I were standing and just checking out the conditions and where there was a nice break and, where we'd jump in and stuff. So I told him a little bit about the longboard, which is now quite a step down from the 70-liter 9.6 log to a 50-liter 610 twin fin with a trailer. But anyway, point is, the volume change was not massive, but for me, it was something. And for the most part, I think I'm okay with that because I'm paddling onto waves, but definitely can feel that it takes more effort. And that's a given. That's how it's going to be. The thing is, with me, I can be there today and be perfectly strong, do nothing different about my physical self between today and tomorrow have no energy and be completely unable to paddle onto waves or even get out of breath paddling out in the tiniest surf, or even walk up the stairs at home and get tired. So how that happens is there's a link that I did not believe in before I got to my diagnosis, that there's such a strong link between mental and emotional state and physical energy and strength. I honestly took it for granted. I always thought that it was about mind over matter and just telling myself that, no, you're being stupid, just come on, go, you can do it. You can do it, but you've also got to be mindful of your limitations. And I've come to accept that I have limitations and it's okay to have limitations. And what happens, just in a nutshell, because I'll obviously have to go through this in detail at some point, but with bipolar, my mood goes up and down in quite a periodic fashion. And what it means is my energy levels go up and down. And with that, muscle strength goes up and down. So in a up, yay, all this energy and excitement's happening. I can paddle for I can have an hour and a half, 2 hour surf session, get out, still have energy, go and do whatever. On the way down, on the other hand, or in a depression, I can physically feel a change in energy levels. Like I slept most of the day 2 days ago, and that's generally a sign that, listen, you're heading downhill. And I could feel the fatigue kicking in, and I knew that I'm internally, even though Dave couldn't tell, I would not have the same paddling strength yesterday. And so he suggested I take the mid length out and get in a bit of practice, but I knew that I wasn't feeling up to it. But I didn't say anything, although we do normally talk about like mental health and that sort of stuff quite a bit. And I just said to myself, listen, if I go out today, I'm going to get frustrated because I know I'm not up to my normal strength and I want to have a fun session. I've been on the mid length a few times. I'm going to take the longboard out. And generally, I listen to Uncle Dave's advice, as most people would with a teacher or a coach, because they know what they're talking about and they are making suggestions that will benefit you. The problem is, remember, nobody else can tell how you're feeling. And if you do not become more self-aware of what's going on in your mind and how it's influencing your moods and emotional state, then you can easily be pushed into doing something that you maybe, I wouldn't say I cannot do at a time, but if you stopped and thought about it a bit more, would realize that maybe I shouldn't, because I'm not going to either enjoy it as much or, I might get frustrated or what have you. So the point of the matter is this concept of self-awareness. And beyond the medication and the therapy and all of the things that I've done in the last 3 years, I think becoming more and more self-aware has been the absolute biggest game changer for me. Whether it's when I am feeling like the ADHD-ness of being up or closer to a hypomanic state, or if it's in a depression where I have to tell myself, listen, this is not your stable level, normal thinking. This is where you are. You are in a depression. You feel like everything is trash and everything you do is terrible and all your work is useless and your photography is ugly, but you remind yourself logically, and I remind myself logically that even though I don't feel it in that moment and don't believe it, I tell myself that it is true, and that how I felt about it, even though I can't feel it at the time when I was stable or up, or what I heard from other people or what have you, is evidence that this is not true at this moment in time. And that has been one of the biggest things for me, not only for myself and managing my own moods and emotions and mental state, but also for being able to communicate that to other people, to the people that are in my corner. So in a relationship, in our marriage, and even with my 6-year-old daughter, we have learned to be very open and honest and unapologetic about what's going on up here, because it changes so often. And for those people that have partners or family with either bipolar or ADHD or depression or any sort of mental illness, mental health struggle, whatever you want to call it, sugarcoat it or don't, it's up to you. It is what it is. Neurodivergence. For anyone who has someone like that in their life or is that way, the biggest thing that you can do, I think, is help them become mindful and self-aware enough to be able to tell you what's going on at that time, and you be able to take that, listen, not judge, which is, doing its rounds. I listen and I don't judge, and just trust what the person's saying. So, for example, with me, when I hit sometimes a super low or even in a high, and then I get super overthinky, I go into this like hyper analysis of every expression change on a person or something they say or body language, whatever. And I'm wondering, what did I do? Is it okay? And I want to ask 100 times, is it okay that I did that? Are you okay? Are you sure I didn't do anything? It comes from a place of insecurity when I know that logically, if I take what I have done in that time, what I've said, and think about it, there's no way I could have actually done anything offensive. Beside the fact that, how another person feels is their own thing. When I'm in that state, I'm aware of that, but guilt just like kind of, I don't know, it takes over. And that's where logic kicks in for me and says, hey, you're feeling this. It's probably not the case. Trust yourself. If it is the case, it'll happen again. Just stay with what you're doing. And sometimes for me, that means disappear away from the group or take some time alone or, whatever it is. It's just acknowledging that that little instant may not be 100% true, if you would. So, point being of this little lesson is that sometimes you have to remember, write down whatever you need to do, the logic behind or the logic over the emotional response. That's how I've dealt with it, because there's plenty of argument about emotions driving thoughts, thoughts driving emotions, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to get into that. I've heard it from therapists. I've heard it from occupational therapists. And I've basically come to the conclusion that what it is being aware of how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and whether what I'm feeling corresponds to what I'm thinking or how I normally behave or how I would normally interpret the world, and just balancing it out before I take my feelings and just say, okay, yeah, you're doing that right now. Because I know my moods and my feelings are a seesaw. And I hope that this is the start of something that is going to grow and we are going to be able to help people with. I hope that this little bit was helpful to you, and please reach out, let me know. I'd love to chat more if you are someone that's in a similar space or feeling alone or know of someone, either a partner, a family member, a friend, or anything that's dealing with mental health and finding it difficult to interact with or sometimes not interact with. I mean, I spent my last birthday completely alone on my surfboard for 3 hours, and that was like what I needed. And sometimes if you're able to communicate that to the people around you, this is what I need. It's nothing that you did, I promise. It's just what I need right now, but I also need to not feel guilty for taking that, what I need, and doing it. Whether it means putting in headphones when there's too much of noise and I'm overstimulated or what have you. You have to get to, I feel that you've got to get to this point where you can be guilt-free in doing what you need to do. And the only way that's going to happen is by being able to speak your mind. And the only way you can do that is by being self-aware of your thoughts and processing of those thoughts into emotions at any given time. So yeah, I hope that we get to chat, and please reach out to me or Terry, and we'll just, support each other where we can, man. That's what this is all about. And I think that's what surfing has taught me. It's brought me to a community of people that just, support each other and have this whole approach to life that has been one of the most positive changes for me. So yeah, cool. Until next time, catch you later.